Zoe Saldana just, won an Oscar, which of course is evident, through her progressing Venus, because it's in the 11th house of, big gains and being celebrated by your peers. And also facing the 5th house of creativity, where she has her moon and Neptune conjunction, about entertainment. So congratulations, and that's a very nice thing. Now when it comes to her and her husband Marco, right, according to Google, they met in 2013. They started dating in 2013, got married in June of 2013, so a month after. However, when I look at their synastry, to me it indicates that everything is alleged, of course, from the get-go, right, until we finish. But to me, it's evident, or it shows in the synastry, that they knew each other for at least 4 to 5 years prior, the 2013 official meeting, right? So because at this time her progressing Venus was conjunct with his Venus in her 7th house, right? So which indicates a prior meeting. Maybe at this time they just met, because same industry perhaps, and they couldn't date, at this time or whatever. So and then there was a distance after. It also shows around the age of 33, like at 33. So they would have met at age 31, when she was 31 years old, and then around 33 years old, then they would have had a distance. Maybe they no longer kept in touch at this time, because her progressing Venus was conjunct with her own Ketu and his moon and Mercury at that time, right? It's also showing actually at the time that the synastry is suggesting that they met when she was 31 or around 31, that her progressing Venus was also opposite his Lilith and Jupiter, not only conjunct with his Venus in her 7th house, but there was a Lilith, if something going on. And again, anytime when Lilith and Venus are together, there's some naughtiness that comes out, right? So I don't know if maybe they were both married at this time and they couldn't date. Maybe they just looked at each other like, oh, I think you're beautiful, I think you're handsome, and we can't date because maybe with other people, and stuff like that, right? I do see that at the age of 34 she was going through some pain, or healing pain. And because at this time her progressing Venus, it was conjunct with her Chiron, which is also with his Chiron, by the way. So around age 34, I don't know, I really don't know when she got divorced. Actually, let me just check on Google. I'll be back. Okay, so according to Google, she got divorced with her first husband in 2011, and the Google says then she met Marco, her current husband, in May 2013, got married in June 2013. However, the synastry is indicating that she actually met Marco around when she was 31 years old. So it would have been like 5 years prior. So she would have met Marco around 2009, around 2009, 2008, according to the synastry, right? But of course, everything is alleged, as I said. Google says otherwise. But anyway, so I'm seeing that around the age of 34, she was going through, some disappointment, some pain, So this is when now? So this would be 31, 28. So this is around the same time, okay, she got divorced, right? Around the same time she got divorced, when her progressing Venus was conjunct with their Chirons. Okay. And then at age 35, then, you know, they came out with Marco that they're in a relationship, they just met, they're getting married. Okay. Anyway, fast forward to recently. Now she's 46 years old and he's 45, almost 46. And I see that, you know, she could have had a disappointment recently relating to the relationship or to the marriage itself, that she could be trying to get over or trying to heal from. You know, maybe some argument with her husband or something. I mean, it's normal, right? Lots of people that are married or in relationships, they have these types of letdowns and arguments. So it's nothing out of the ordinary, really. Okay. So this is because, you know, her progressing Venus is currently with their Chirons again. You know, the same experience that she experienced back in when she was 34, when she was 34 years old, so about 12 years ago. So whatever she was experiencing, a breakup or heartbreak or disappointment, she's experiencing it again since 2024, and getting into 2025 she's also experiencing that. And it's also and there's also a transit of Saturn over her 8th house of shared marriage, like the marriage house, shared resources, which, by the way, is conjunct with his Ketu, with Marco's Ketu, Mars and Sun. You know, she just won that Oscar, and, you know, she spoke lovely about her husband and her kids. So I wouldn't think that they're going through something. But according to the synastry, there is some sort of disappointment or stuff that she would have, you know, been healing from last year. Since 2024. And, you know, there's a whole lot of indication of lack of intimacy lately, you know, since the age of 44 in her marriage. But I mean, they're busy, right? People who are busy, they don't act as if they just met or they're in the honeymoon phase. So that's also quite normal. I do see that her progressing Venus will be conjunct with her 12th house quite soon. And with the 12th house here, it's going to be with her Jupiter and Lilith, Mercury and Sun, meaning that there's going to be some information that she's going to receive, information that she's going to know about relating to her relationship, right? And at the same time, Marco's progressing Venus is getting directly opposite that conjunction of Chiron again, and it's gonna be a sudden thing because it's conjunct with the Uranus as well. So Uranus, progressing Venus, Chiron. So you're like disappointments that they're gonna be facing, or they are already going through since 2024, and this year as well. So that's there, right? But of course we wish them the best. We don't like to see bad news here. Basically their synastry is hot. Lots of fire, because she's got her Mars opposite his Mars, and Mars and Mars, they challenge each other, but they always keep their sexual appeal, sexual attraction going, which is absolutely amazing. I have her Saturn opposite his Mars, which I prefer, because it neutralizes the argument, as opposed to when Saturn is conjunct with Mars. Because when Saturn is conjunct with Mars, it creates violence, like physical. But when it's in opposition, it creates some arguments, but they don't get violent to the point of destroying each other physically. They have a trine of moons, lovely. Emotionally, they support each other, they're there for each other. This is beautiful. They do have a square of Moon and Saturn, meaning that they have to always try to find a balance between the emotional expression and the practicality in their life, work, resources as well. Right, I do have her Saturn in conjunct with his Moon, which again gives another challenge around the practicality of their relationships in terms of bring up children. Maybe one person is not always there to help bring up the children, or to help around the house with responsibilities. Maybe one is at work a lot, whilst the other one has to take care of the children, run the errands and stuff like that, right? But everybody's like that, because we have to find a balance. One parent has to go to work, the other parent has to deal with the kids, right? So quite normal. I do have her Rahu and Pluto opposite his Moon and Mercury, meaning that lots of explosions regarding emotional expressions, words, right? Mercury, is words and speaking and communication. His Lilith and Jupiter are on her ascendant. Again, that Lilith representing, some sort of motive, Yeah. I do have obviously his Venus in her 7th house, which is beautiful because this is Venus's original house. Of course, they were gonna get married, because when Venus is here, Venus is wanting to uphold the traditions of the 7th house, right? I also have her Venus opposite his Venus, always desiring to love on each other, but of course with different ways of expressing it. I have her Venus conjunct with Jupiter and Lilith. Again, that sense of, the relationship started maybe when there was somebody else in the picture, or or even like the way they started, how they started, according to Google, so quickly, married so soon, so quickly, all of that, right? It brings a bit of a tradition that is not welcomed because of the Lilith. And on top of that, he took her name instead of her taking his name. So again, a twist in the tradition. Lilith, things are not done in a normal way, in a belief system way. Very different, right? I do have her Saturn conjunct his Saturn and Rahu, this is perfect, this is beautiful. However, his Saturn is retrograde, meaning that he's always focusing on her and what she's doing and what she's ought to do and all of that, right? And he could also be influencing her to take shortcuts, to think out of the box, think out of the norm in doing things and around her profession, the profession itself. I do have her moon, which is with Neptune, by the way, conjunct with his Neptune, meaning that if he wanted, he could just cover her eyes and she wouldn't see anything, right? Sweet dreams, sweet talk. La 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 la, good night, right? I do have his Mars, Sun and Ketu in her 8th house, meaning that he was able to come in and just make her open up to him so easily. Like he could just get all the secrets out of her. She cannot hide anything from him. She cannot hide even herself. She cannot hide even her thoughts from him. And with that, he has direct access to her psychological welfare, psychological health. He has all the control over her mind, literally through the Neptune, as well as now through the 8th house. He like mentally, psychologically, he could just control her. He could just influence her to say, this is not a white color, this is a green color. And she would say, yeah, it's a green color actually. And then he could say, oh, the sky is black, it's not blue. And she would say, yeah, the sky is black actually. His planets give him that access, right? So basically I do also have her Ketu conjunct with his moon and Mercury, meaning that communication wise there could be some sort of confusion most of the time, whereby he feels like his emotions are not being heard, or he's not being heard by her, and then she would just brush it off, right? So basically, that's it in a nutshell when it comes to Zoë Saldana and Marco Perego, right? And again, congratulations to Zoë Saldana. I just thought of, checking the synastry when I saw the news on Instagram, because she's all over my Instagram. And I was like, okay, let me just see what's going on here, right? I'll chat to you soon. Ciao.